So despite that amazing, thrilling victory on Saturday, we still have some unresolved business with the Bears, and that is where they're going to play. Northwest Indiana, of course, in play now. Tia, you visited some public officials in the region. Have they talked about any potential sites for a stadium?
So they did. They didn't want me to disclose exactly where, but in terms of Gary, it looks like there's 3 different locations. Of course, they have trains there. They have an airport there for corporate flights, private flights, and now they're trying to attract, some major airlines for their commercial space, which has been completely renovated. And, I'm not going to lie, Gary is looking really good.
And it's close. It's right across the state line. There's also Hammond. There's been some talk about perhaps Wolf Lake, which literally is on the border of the city. Brett, this is not unprecedented because now Kansas City is setting a template here for a team to go across the state border and get much of their stadium paid for.
Anything is possible, and that the rest of the league is watching this right now because it is a revenue-sharing league. And anytime there's a new stadium, that means more seats, that means more money for all the owners. So the big news Monday was the Kansas City Chiefs moving to the state of Kansas, leaving Kansas City, Missouri. They're going to be building their new stadium in Wyandotte County, which is just across the state line. They didn't specify what city, but a lot of people are wondering if this is going to be where the Kansas Speedway is located. After all, there is one professional team in the state of Kansas that is Sporting KC, which is the soccer team. And the Kansas City Chiefs also announced they are relocating team headquarters to Olathe, Kansas.
That would be 2 NFL franchises Missouri has lost in the last several years, St. Louis, and now Kansas City moving over the state border. But Tia, do you think, would you gauge what the Bears are doing in Indiana as flirtation for leverage, or is this deeper? Is there a shot here?
A lot of people think that is absolutely flirtation and that they're trying to use this as almost like a pawn to get their way in Illinois. But you got to look at the whole totality of this, especially when you talk about doing business in the state of Illinois and how much it costs. You cannot deny that it is easier to set up a business, financially speaking, in a state like Indiana. I'm talking about if you and I were business owners. So I think that there is a real probability here that Indiana could be home to the Chicago Bears. And let's be honest, when we talk about, because it's kind of hard to say Chicago Bears in Indiana, right? But when you talk about it, even people that live in Northwest Indiana, most of them are not identifying with the Indianapolis Colts.
No.
Right? Because of the proximity. So
it's a Chicago market. It's part of the Chicago region. Yeah, there's no. I did ask them, well, would they be willing to roll out the carpet for subsidies or tax breaks for the Bears the way that Illinois has not? But what looks like in Kansas or in Kansas State, the state of Kansas, they're going to pay for most of this stadium through government bonds, and so the team is not going to have to pay for much of it at all.
Correct, and this is the Hunt family, which made their money in the oil and gas industry. They were one of the original AFL teams. They were the Dallas Texans, which became the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is a family that has, unlike the Bears and the McCaskey family, they have other sources of income, other sources of revenue, and they're using these star bonds to pay for the stadium. It could be a little controversial because this could take decades, sometimes 20, 30, maybe even 50 years to pay off. And they're certainly making it done. And we spoke with our stadium expert, Mark Gannis, who was saying today, look, if there's a political will, they will get this done. And unlike the state of Illinois, you've got a legislature which has a supermajority of Republicans with a Democratic governor. And during the press conference on Monday, Governor Laura Kelly talked about the bipartisanship about how they got the Chiefs to move to the state.
Well, with Indiana, a bunch of conservative lawmakers from downstate that are probably more fans of the Indianapolis Colts, if anything. I'm just curious as to whether the politics will work out that way for the Bears. But are they willing to give up public money, you think, Tia, in Indiana?
I think they are. I mean, that's what it sounded like. We talked to the state rep there for District 2, Earl Harris Jr., and he made it clear to make me, I walked away from that conversation believing that it is a probability that they would consider it.
All right.
What do you think?
I would, like I said, I think yes. I think some of them might want to do it, but it's a matter of will the downstate or Indianapolis area representatives go along with this, especially considering the fact that you have the Indianapolis Colts down there that probably aren't crazy about the notion of another NFL franchise within the state. I don't know, but there's a lot to follow here. Brett Bagansky, Tia Ewing, thanks for this little green room chat.